everybody, welcome to Teaspoon Retro. I'm your host, Teaspoon, and today I've got a foodie beauty video for you. It's the morning after the night before, which was the birthday stream, and Foodie's looking, oof, she's looking ill today. She does not look well whatsoever. Alright, let's see what this video is going to be about.
I gotta open those curtains. I just woke up. Yep, that's right, Nikki. Look at my face. You can tell by the bags and the CPAP marks.
Yep, we can really see the CPAP marks and the double eye bags. It's kind of ironic though, because it wasn't so long back, Foodie, that you were criticising and making fun of another reactor and drawing fake eye bags on your face. And now you've got eye bags. It's funny how the universe works, isn't it, really?
Because seriously, you know, like it's cheaper for, I have more access to pain meds and hospital care here, so I would take it from you. But yeah, like, I still have brain fog from the morning.
Oh, Chantal, so you've got access to pain meds. This might explain why on some of your streams you've had this kind of doped up expression. That's the only way I can think to put it. Certainly look medicated, shall we put it that way. Whatever you're using to mask what's going on, it's not a good idea. And I do have to wonder how you're managing to get such easy access to opiates. Could be that Kuwait's health system is completely different out there and they don't have the same controls in place as they do in other countries, but here in the UK it is practically impossible to get hold of anything stronger than codeine or cocodamol. Certainly codeine without a doctor's prescription, and then you've got the stronger drugs like tramadol and pregabalin. They're very controlled drugs and it is very difficult to get those unless you're in an obvious significant amount of pain and the doctor has done extensive investigations first to try and find out what's going on. So it's interesting that you say that, Chantal. Yeah, I have to wonder how you're getting those pain meds. Salah's sister apparently works in a pharmacy, but I'd have thought if she's doing something like that, and Chantal coming on here and saying something like that, could lead to Salah's sister getting into a lot of trouble, potentially, if that's where she's sourcing the tablets from.
Oh yeah, because Salah was like, look, you need to decide what kind of meal plan you want to do. Like, do you want to order, like, you know, make like a plan, like when I'm going to order out, when I'm going to cook, stuff like that. So I got to figure out what kind of food I want to cook.
There's very little point in making plans if you don't stick to them. That's the thing. So that in itself becomes a time-wasting exercise. And surely by now, Salah has realised this, that every time she says she's going to do something or plans to do something, it never comes to fruition. So, Salah, you should know better by now.
So I want to say something, okay? Because somebody sent me an email. There's always, I swear this person makes multiple accounts just so they can harass me by email, right? So that's fine, whatever.
Well, you make numerous sock accounts yourself, don't you, Chantal?
They sent me a screenshot of a reaction channel, I don't know who, but pointing out a travel bag on my floor, all right? So, hey, Buddha, I just want to say something, all right? So this is the parent travel bag.
Holy shit. Oh my god, that place is an absolute pigsty. It's ridiculous. It's so untidy. Good grief. How on earth does like one person living on her own manage to make that small apartment that untidy? And particularly when she hasn't been there for about 3 days. Maybe Salah's had company around. And I say she lives on her own because there is so little evidence that anybody else lives there besides herself.
This is, look, I have 3 bags, okay? I have this one, and one day I couldn't figure out which one I wanted to go out with to feed the cats and all these things.
I think I can smell shite.
So I ended up taking this one, I believe. Sometimes this one. But this one, no, I don't like it. It's actually Salah's. So, these people. And this is just dirty laundry. What do you do? She just had breakfast, so she's doing her post-breakfast licking my butt.
Why is your dirty laundry in a heap on the floor in the middle of the lounge? I have to ask. And I believe that's probably the stuff that you took with you on your visa run.
Eyeing the travel bag. No, teardrop. And then they finally sent me an attachment of the travel chart. Apparently I'm next due to travel in June, at the end of June, so.
Yep, well, all you've got to do to disprove the theory, Chantal, is continue going live at the end of June from the Fartbox. And then we can turn around and say, okay, we got it wrong. But the fact that you disappeared for 3 days and didn't do any lives in that time, at the same time as your visa was due for renewal, and this is a pattern that has occurred over numerous months, tells us that you are renewing your travel visa, and at the end of June you will disappear again and come back with some excuse like you've been unwell or something silly like that to try and cover for the fact that you've been travelling and getting your visa renewed again.
I'm gonna make sure to go absent on purpose just to confuse people. I don't care. Dirty laundry from jet setting?
Well, that isn't going to make your point, is it? If you go absent and don't go live during those times, you're just going to add fuel to the fire and prove the theory. Surely, if you want to put paid to the rumours and settle it for once and for all, you would go live during that time. See, Chantal, you keep saying you're smart, but you keep making dumb decisions.
No, it's not. I think there's like sheets in there and everything. See, that's sheets. Some Salah's clothes. My jilbab. I gotta wash it. No, Buddha. It's so odd, but hey, whatever they want to do, whatever. I'm just not even gonna care anymore. Like, it's kind of funny. Like, I don't know. That level of obsession with a chart. Like, I don't know. You brought your own sheets in case of an accident. See, like, that's the thing. Like, it doesn't matter if I prove any, like, if I took out my marriage certificate tomorrow, it wouldn't prove anything to people because they would just find some excuse, like Larry just did, like some explanation. You know what I mean?
No, the reason you'll never show your marriage certificate is because there are people in the community who are very familiar with law out in Kuwait, have spent time out in the Middle East, have actually been married in the Middle East, and they know the ins and outs of Islamic law and how you get married. So that's the reason why you'll never show it, is because instantly it will prove that you're not legally married. So that's why you won't show it. Not because we're going to pick it apart, and it's private to you, but because that there are people in the community who can turn around and say that is not a valid marriage certificate, and can say it with real conviction and can back it up with facts and with proof. And that's the reason why you'll never show it, is because you know there's people in the community who can prove you aren't legally married.
Alright guys, we have to clean. Look at this mess.
Why is it funny? Look at the state of it. Oh my God. Oh, it, honestly, it's rare that I struggle for words, that I am practically stunned to silence, but on this occasion, gosh, I'm getting flashbacks of the villa. Looks just like the villa looked, an absolute state. There's crap all over the place. Just look at it. Stuff thrown on the sofas, stuff thrown on the floor, plastic bags everywhere. It's just an absolute, well, like I said before, it's just an absolute pigsty.
This is shameful. I should weigh myself.
Listen to the breathing. The breathing is so concerning. Literally, she's just got up and she's took about 4 or 5 steps around the room, bent down to pick up the weighing scales, and she's out of breath and struggling so much. How does this not scare you, Chantal? It would scare the life out of me. It really would. And I think at this stage, if this doesn't bring into focus that you need to make changes urgently, then you're lost. You really are lost at this stage. Because if that doesn't make you think, I need to get my shit together, nothing will.
What is that? Is that poo? No, hair.
Well, it doesn't look exactly clean, does it? There's cat litter all over the floor by the litter box. It's piled up in mounds here and there, which probably means you've just chucked in a fresh layer of kitty litter over the top of the turds that were already in there. So it's not really very clean, is it?
Maybe hair and poo? I gotta clean around here today. Choose. Her scratcher, she tears it to shreds.
Well, she tears it to shreds, Chantal, because it's the only thing she's got. And the fact that it's in such a sad state, it's really... My heart goes out to Julia, it really does. You know, where are her toys? Where's her cat tree? Where's her other scratching posts? Where are the toys and enrichments that would really make her life more comfortable? There isn't any. And there isn't any simply because only Chantal's comfort matters. Julia's comfort does not even appear on Foodie's radar. As long as Foodie is comfortable, that's all that matters to Foodie. Because as a narcissist, Foodie's number one concern will always be herself.
Okay. How are you gonna make yourself feel special? I'm not. Your cats do the same thing. Oops.
Yeah, you have to stand on it long enough for it to register your weight, Chantal.
I wish I weighed 0. 165.
Bullshit!
165.8, so 166. That converts to 26 stone 1 pound, or in pounds, 365.5. Chantal, I think you need a new set of scales because these are patently broken. You are gaining weight at a rapid rate, so there is no way that you're just up by a couple of pounds. You really need to get weighed properly on the proper doctor's scales, with the doctor leaning over and looking and making sure you're not leaning on everything to try and fudge the weight. But those scales, throw them out, they're no good.
In pounds, but the bags will eventually subside, but
Damn, girl, you are looking the worst I think I've ever seen you look. You really do. Get on a plane, go back to Canada and get inpatient treatment. Look at the state of that chair. It's completely covered in cat fur. Oh, good grief. Just seeing all this mess is making me want to run around with a vacuum cleaner and duster. Oh my God. Look at the state of it. How can you go live with your place looking like this? There's no shame at all, is there? What am I talking about? Why am I asking that question? Of course there's no shame. It's Chantal. She doesn't have any shame whatsoever. She went to a blooming funeral with her arse hanging out of the bottom of her dress. So we know that there's no shame involved whatsoever.
first things, let's bring the things that go in the kitchen into the kitchen. Okay, so bread, cat treat. No, cat treat can stay here. Cat food. How am I gonna put the camera? Hey Jetri, Estonia. Oh, nice. You feel like death, Kens? I hope you feel better. Double apple. Oh, nice, Buddha. In Arabic, apple is tufa. Tufa. Mine, I only like lemon mint because the mint helps. Like, it makes it feel like I'm not smoking anything. Yeah, Obito, it's 11:22.
What the hell's in that bag? What's all of that? Sounds like crockery and dishes and cups. Why is that in the floor in a bin bag in the middle of the living room? I can't fathom any of this.
I'll have to bring those next. Yeah, I know. Part of the ritual is part of the fun, eh? I know what you mean, Buddha.
Look at this nasty ass, mouldy, filthy kitchen. Just looking at it, it looks like one of those kind of kitchens that originates from about 3 decades earlier, and needs completely ripping out and redoing in a way that meets with more modern standards. And that's not me being snobby, that's me just saying if your surfaces are tiled, then sorry about that, just a notification then there. You've got surfaces then, if they're tiled, that are easier to clean. And to keep clean, I would imagine all this wood panelling is very difficult to keep clean, is liable to get damp, especially if you're cooking in the kitchen and you've got a lot of condensation about. The dryer itself will produce a lot of condensation if it's not a condenser dryer. It doesn't look like one to me. So if that's just venting into the kitchen space, that's going to create a really damp atmosphere, and that's just a breeding ground for mold and all sorts of nasties that someone with asthma definitely doesn't need growing in their apartment. You've still got soup on your abaya, Chantal, from the other night.
I know I have a stain and I guess over there.
Chantal, just stick it in the downwash. It's a good thing we know it's potato soup, don't we, and not something else. Mind you, I don't think Salah's into you in that way. Well, he's definitely not getting into you. Oh God, what did I just say that? Oh no. Sorry guys. Sorry for any trauma I've just inflicted. I apologise. Yeah, it's a good... Well, we know it's soup, so just wash the damn thing. It's stained. That's not going to do anything, so it needs washing. Are we that short on abayas, Chantal, that you literally only have this one to wear? Possible, I suppose, especially if you've been on a visa run and you've sweated through 3 days of clothes. This might be the only one that you've got left to put on. Good Lord. You know, it really says something when Chantal is so desperate now for content that she will film her filthy apartment with rubbish strewn in every direction because she's got nothing else to bring to the channel. Nothing else to say, nothing else to do. I just don't know how somebody makes this much mess. And why is the bottles and pills and all sorts all over there? Makeup, doesn't that belong in the bedroom? Or in your bathroom? Doesn't belong on your kitchen table. Well, dining room table, sorry.
It's frustrating that I don't have, like, I use my table as a desk for myself because I don't like that room because it's hotter. The AC doesn't work as well because clutter is treadmill. I'm gonna try to go on it today.
Well, that doesn't really make sense, to be honest. So it's not working very well in the room. Well, did you report it to the landlord? Maybe it needs servicing, perhaps? So what you're saying then, Chantal, is that you essentially live and sleep in this room. It certainly looks like it by the state of it. But this is the impression I'm getting, is because you're saying in the other room that the aircon doesn't work sufficiently. And we know how cold you like it. So that means then that you're living in this space then. Sleeping here, eating there, pottering about there, you know, in this same little room. Gosh. Couldn't be me, I tell you that.
Anna. Good job.
Good job. Did somebody just say to her, good job? What has she done? She's just moving piles of rubbish from one surface to another surface. It's not cleaning, it's not getting rid of stuff, it's just moving crap in ever decreasing circles. Jesus, Santel, you've got glucose testing strips just lying littered around on top of that work surface. Maybe even lancets as well. Oh, good grief. Just happy wallowing around in filth, ain't you? Because you're too lazy to go and put the tester strip in the bin once you've used it. Marvellous, isn't it?
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? You're gonna hear my breathing.
Girl, we heard your breathing before you put that microphone on, and it was concerning enough. We don't need the microphone to hear your breathing. You've been gasping throughout the entire video so far.
Good girl. That's a nice baby. Good girl. We're all watching her eat, so.
Julia, I want you to perform for the viewers. Come on, you know, you're not here for free, you know. So go on, Julia, say something. Piss off, woman. I have nothing to say to you. I don't do any autographs or any performances. You'll have to speak to my agent. Now, go away, you vile woman, and let me eat in peace. For once. Thank you.
You finish your brekkie. That's a good girl. Okay, now we have to clean it up. I don't use harsh chemicals on the table because she frequents the table.
Well, she shouldn't be, because that's where you eat, and if you're not using any kind of cleaning chemicals on that surface, then it must be absolutely teeming with bacteria and all sorts of nasty germs. Good grief, you're going to be breeding a superbug in there before you're finished.
So, I pretty much just use water.
What are you, fucking nuts?
I'll be right back. We gotta clean the queen's dishes. Her food dishes. Yeah.
Yeah, I've just had a thought. It reminds me of a little scene from a film, was it Naked Gun? Or was it Naked Gun 2.5? Where police detective Frank Drebin is mic'd up at some important event and he doesn't realise his mic is still on, and he goes to the bathroom, and if you've never seen the Naked Gun films with Leslie Nielsen, they are cracking. They're a good laugh. I'll put a tiny clip in the video if I can, but you might get copyright, so I might not be able to put it in, but I'll see what I can do.
And seeing that this portion of the Queen's American Goodwill Tour, the Queen has chosen our city to visit. Indeed, it is for all the people who will be able to share in the celebration.
Sorry about that.
That abaya is absolutely minging. That is absolutely minging. Good grief, it's covered in suspicious looking stains. But obviously we know there's not that sort of thing happening, so just put on a clean abaya, girl. What's wrong with you?
Alright, Julia. Alright, so here's the table. Final result. Her area is nice and clean. My area is at least tidy and clean.
What are you waiting for, Chantal? A fucking medal?
I do my makeup right here, guys. Alright, now we have to clean this stuff here. Laundry has to be done, I guess. Looks good. Thank you. Godspeed. Seraphim, yeah. You feel good after the cleaning, but like, now, this is just routine things I do pretty much on a daily.
Yeah, the state of that apartment really looks like you do stuff like this on the daily.
Well, whenever I have visitors, I move the stuff. This is just like, you know. And when we have visitors, we move the table too, over this way. Okay, now I'm just gonna pan over here, finish the living room quick.
Chantal, I don't know whether you've heard of this, but there's a little invention called polish. And you could polish those tables up to look a lot better than just scrubbing a wet, I can't even think of the name of the blooming thing. Washing up sponge, that's it. Washing up sponge, that's what I was thinking of. And move stuff off the table first rather than cleaning around it. Oh my word. Yeah, I can see from the light coming in that stuff is streaky as all hell and is going to look even worse when it dries. Congratulations, Chantal. And what is that supposed to achieve precisely? Cleaning the spray bottle and then spraying it up into the air? You know, there's only so much that fragrances can do to get over the stench of cheese, farts, unwashed clothes, sweat, rotting food. You know, all those lovely, lovely smells that have become synonymous with your apartment, Chantal. There's only so much they can do. You know, the cause of the odours still remains. You have to get rid of the causes of the odour before you can truly get rid of an odour. Not just keep spraying perfume over the top of it. in the vain hopes that somebody else who doesn't walk into the apartment doesn't immediately get hit with a wall of stench and pass out.
Now we just have this.
What's that there? There's something just there. Just there. I'm just going to guide my pointer towards. Is that a cigarette butt? Cigarette burn? On the sofa? Probably.
Mess. So I guess I should explain, because instead of just like, basically, because we're going to get this a lot. We're going to get this like every occasion, okay? Birthdays, Christmas, which I don't really celebrate, but anniversaries, whatever, okay? So right now we are sacrificing every single fills, cent, whatever we're doing, okay? Because we have expensive things in the future we need to save every penny for. So we are sacrificing.
Okay. I mean, we've heard this before, haven't we, Chantal? And it always comes to nothing. The only thing I think you might be saving money for is a possible move back to Canada at some point. And look, yeah, full disclosure, I was one of those who thought that this visa run would be the one where she went back to Canada. I was wrong. I can freely admit that. But I still think, well, maybe it's hoping at this point, that a move back to Canada is coming. It's just a case of when she can afford to do it. So I think this is because we're on a downward spiral here. The channel is flagging really badly. The content has utterly dried up. Not that it was a lot of content there to begin with, but what little there was has completely gone by the way. Salah has all but disappeared from view. Things like this. But judging by the way their pretend relationship is devolving into absolute utter farce, the fact that the views are tanking on the channel, that she's increasingly unhappy and binging, I think at some point a return is coming. But will that be June in the hottest weather for Kuwait? That's not going to be good, is it, Chantal? You're struggling now in that sort of heat. Blooming hell. I shudder to think, to be honest. I really do. But this is a situation you made. This is a situation entirely of your own making, really.
A lot to make these goals happen. So I guess I'm just going to come right out and say special occasions, birthday gifts, shopping and for unnecessary things that I want are on the side for now. I'm trying to forego expensive coffees, but...
Right then, so you're not really serious about your goals then, are you? Because expensive coffees would be one of the first things to cut. Buy a little coffee machine. It'd work out a lot cheaper in the long run.
Sacrifice the Casio. The treadmill, I gotta use it.
Yeah, that's never gonna happen.
There's no 9K. I was being cheeky because people were saying that when I first got with Salah, I gave him 9K, which is stupid.
Which you absolutely did. And it wasn't cheeky, the fib that you told. It was stupid, because it is absolutely evident on a huge scale that that you don't have that kind of money. He certainly doesn't have that kind of money. If you had that kind of money, neither of you would be in the situation that you're in now.
And speaking of keyboard playing, there was nobody yelling at us yesterday. There were people yelling on the street.
That is one big pile of shit.
No, there was absolutely people yelling at you from the apartment next door. It was certainly heard by all of us. Don't try and gaslight Chantal. It doesn't work. We all know what we heard. I'll insert a little clip here just to remind you.
Hey, clear focus. Someone just yelled at us. And I was making a joke. Did someone yell? But people take everything I say literal.
Tell me lies, tell me sweet little lies.
Except when I actually, it doesn't matter. Whenever I say anything, that's the truth. They don't believe it. So I'm not going to explain myself anymore. But for the financial part, I don't mind sharing that because I do kind of want to, I'm trying to think of like content stuff.
One question, Chantal. Are you going to do fast funerals for all the takeaways that you frequent again? Or are you just going to continue to keep eating off camera? Whichever one it is, I don't believe you'll stick to this plan for longer than 5 minutes, so...
People say I don't have hobbies. I do need to find an enjoyable hobby, but before I can do that, no one yelled shut up. First of all, nobody will do that here. Like, nobody's going to yell at you to shut up here.
They are if you're playing music loudly and screaming like lunatics. You've just escaped from the asylum at late at night, at midnight, 2 a.m, 3 a.m. Of course people are going to shout. People are going to shout anywhere. It's just, this overwhelming sense of entitlement that you think that nobody, absolutely nobody, should have any right to complain about the kind of ruckus and noise that you create on a daily basis. So entitled. Your neighbours have had a baby recently. They're trying to put their little one down to sleep, and you've got Salah banging the keyboard, playing Crazy Frog for the 9 billionth time. It's absolutely ludicrous. Of course they're going to shout. They'd shout in any country. Okay? The fact that you're trying to say that they wouldn't is nonsensical, to be honest.
People do not act that way here. Our neighbors are very private.
People might not usually act in that way in Kuwait, right? But then there is probably an accepted decency, an unwritten rule that after 10 p.m. you're not going to be screaming and shouting like lunatics, playing loud music, making a ton of racket. If that covenant is broken, so when somebody breaks those rules, then somebody is going to complain about it. And I said on the last video I did, you should be really careful, Chantal, because if you keep upsetting your neighbours, all it takes is for them to go to the local authorities and you're you really are. You and Salah both. So I'd really, from now, reconsider my position and be quiet as a church mouse.
Quiet, nice people. We never hear them. Very rarely. Like, I don't even hear the baby anymore. The walls are very thick cement.
No, they're not, because on one of your previous lives that you did, you farted incredibly loudly and the baby started crying next door and you could hear it. Oh, you guys, my neighbours are great, really. I never hear them. And I don't think they've got that baby now. I mean, maybe they just, borrowed it for a short time or something. I don't know. But I don't hear that kid now, yeah? So it's totally okay for me to make tons of noise and act like a complete twat. Yeah, it's fine. I mean, I can do what I want, can't I? Because I'm a public figure. I'm a celebrity. They should be thankful that they're staying next to me. Yeah? It should be a privilege, shouldn't it? They should charge you more rent for it, you know what I mean?
Hey, Ria. Babes, yeah, you know, if you, like, honestly, in the future, inshallah, like, I would like to have, we want to travel, like, a lot of different places. That's going to be expensive. Someday, I'm getting older, I realize that I would like to have, you know, somewhere more permanent, like a nice home or something, you know, and we're not going to get there if we're wasting money on Lush, if we're wasting money on, you know, I can't, I have my goals in mind all the time, you know, and hopefully someday you guys will see what all this hard working and sacrificing, you know, like, so anyways, I was thinking hobby-wise, like content-wise, content is kind of my hobby as well. So I think that, I know, right? Superboy Elizu, make my own hijabs. That's a good idea. Maybe someday.
Yeah, that's never going to happen. She's never going to sort of get a hobby or do anything remotely creative. And the same will go for content. It will just be the same old repetitive rubbish that gets churned out, which is her stuffing her face on camera and running her mouth when she's had an argument with Salah. That's about as good as it's going to get, I'm afraid.
Yeah, that's true. And look, I've learned, you guys know about like my history with bankruptcy and stuff like that. Like, use me as a cautionary tale. Don't live beyond your means. Really, before you want to buy something, think like, do I need this? Vegetable soup is so good. I love it. Where would I buy a home?
No offence, Chantal, but I don't think anybody's going to take advice from someone who's been bankrupted twice. Just saying it exactly how it is. I'm not saying people can't learn from the mistakes. It's just that we're seeing more of the same. It's just that your food addiction has grown to a point now where it has swallowed up practically all the money that you have spare. So instead of spending it on makeup and things like that, your food addiction is now so big that practically every spare penny you have goes on that.
When I think of having my own house, I don't think of suburban modern. I think secluded in the forest, an old, creepier, older home. I know it would be a lot of money to heat and everything, but, or people are really getting creative with homes these days since they can't afford conventional homes. Maybe buying a bit of land and buying like a...
Chantal, I hate to say it, but if you don't get a grip and get your food addiction sorted out, you will not be around long enough to see these plans through to fruition.
And even if I do become wealthy, and I've promised this to God, I've said, if you ever do make me wealthy, I promise to share it. Like, I'm not going to go on like Instagram and flash, you know, like, I'm not going to go buy a Maybach and stuff like that.
Well, Foodie, what a strange relationship you have with God. That the first thing that springs to mind that you pray to God for is wealth. That says everything anybody needs to know about you. Instead of praying perhaps for the end of conflicts, the conflicts that are going on at the moment between Israel and Palestine, between Russia and Ukraine, you know, the climate change that's causing such devastating floods and famines, that kind of thing. So instead of sort of praying for something like that, you're asking God to make you rich. God is not a genie. This isn't Aladdin. You don't have a magic lamp that you can rub and a genie pops out and you get 3 wishes. There's just something about that that's entirely self-serving. Oh God, please make me rich. Really? Like I say so much about you, Chantal. Tells me everything I need to know about the fact that you've not changed. You're incredibly self-serving because what you're thinking about first and foremost is your own comfort and not somebody else's.
Food makes us happy and we want to make them happy, so I get it. It's hard, yeah. It's really hard. It's hard. It's like, you know, making us and other people happy with food. It's like ingrained in us, you know.
Making other people happy with food is ingrained in us. It's an interesting statement, isn't it? Shouldn't that just be left as making other people happy, the people that we care for, ensuring that they're happy is what's ingrained in us? Just that, not with the food components tacked on to the end, because that really equates to me that your entire version of happiness is tied up completely in food. And again, like I said, this is why you need to go back and get inpatient treatment, get therapy, because there's a lot there that needs unpicking and unpacking. Yeah, you know, for chefs and for people who love cooking, there's absolutely a joy there in creating recipes and dishes that your customer, your clients your family will love. I get that. There's, of course, that component to it. But when really you say it's ingrained in us to make people happy with food, it's a bit like, it's like you're saying that that's the only thing that matters. And for me, personally, there are so many more facets to life than just making someone happy with food.
My mom, I was spoiled, but mostly not really mostly by my mom. My grandma spoiled me so bad. Every time I saw her, I loved going to her house as a kid because she would give me money, she would take me shopping for whatever I wanted, and pretty much anything in her house, I would say, I like this, Grandma. She would say, take it home with you. And she let me go in her kitchen, have anything I wanted. You know what I mean? So, yep. And I was always like more close to my mom's side. My dad's side, as a kid, I was closer, but not now. Like I haven't even talked to anyone from my dad's side in like forever, since my grandma's funeral. And I was like bawling that my grandma passed away, and they were not bawling, and they were all looking at me like I could tell they were gonna gossip about me later, that like I was crying so hard, because like they're like, I know what they're thinking. I'm not stupid. They were probably thinking, you never even saw your grandma that much. So, like, she still lied.
So what I can discern from that then, Foodie, is that the moment that your relationship with your grandmother stopped being beneficial to you in terms of what you could get out of it, you pretty much stopped seeing her. Interesting, that, isn't it? Shows how mercenary you really are.
Was it a short dress? I hate haters who are like, you wore a short dress to your grandma's funeral. Like, what? No, my grandma didn't have a funeral. Or to go visit my grandma in the hospital. Who cares what I wore? Like, it covered all of my bits. Like, at least I was there with her, and we had to wear a PPE anyway. So...
The fact that you would visit your gran in those desperate times off your face on drugs. You know, and if you actually took responsibility for once in your whole entire adult life and said, you know what? Yeah, I absolutely did turn up looking like a slapper, right? The way I dressed was completely inappropriate. If you said, I regret all those choices that I made back then, if you actually sort of honestly made those admissions, then I'd have more respect for you in that regard, that you could actually take responsibility for something in your life. But no, as usual, you can't. It's the haters. It's everybody else's fault, you know. Yeah, I mean, look, Chantal, we weren't the ones that told you to pick a crack pipe up off the floor of He Who Shall Not Be Named's dive and smoke from it. We're not the ones who told you to bung loads of cocaine up your nose. Those things are on you. Those are choices that you made. And you made a choice. You made a choice to go and see your gran when you were off your face on drugs. You made a choice to turn up in completely inappropriate clothing. You made a choice to abandon your mom, who had just lost her mom, your gran, that you profess to love. You made a choice to abandon her so you could go back to he who shall not be named and stuff more drugs up your nose. Take some responsibility for once in your life. Honest to God, it just irritates me. It really does, because she tries to paint this picture that she was this caring, dutiful granddaughter who lived to serve her grandma, and it couldn't be further from the truth.
I was very much in my grandma's life. So anything you hear about me, choosing the abuser over her, never. I helped her.
Look, Chantal, let's just put it this way. When you said to your beezers, "Oh, don't listen to anything. Whatever you hear about me, it's not true. It's not true, okay?" There is actual video evidence, Chantal, okay? And that cannot be refuted. That can't be argued with. That is what they call incontrovertible proof of your behaviour and your behaviours back then. So, like I say, take some responsibility, own up to the fact that you were, at that point in your life, consumed with an addiction, that it overtook you, and in many respects, you weren't the daughter, the granddaughter that your family needed you to be. Just admit it. Admit you've done wrong, but you can't. It's like, "Oh no, guys, I didn't do any of that. It weren't my fault. No."
At least once, sometimes twice, more. I would visit her and help her at least once a week with chores or whatever.
No, you didn't. You were too busy chasing a he who shall not be named round Lachine. Okay? You weren't visiting your grandma often and ensuring she had groceries and that she was looked after. No. You might have done it like once or twice, but certainly nowhere near as often as you've tried to make out. No, you were entirely too busy back then to be bothering with anybody in your family.
And also groceries, took her shopping.
And take the faux poor me, "Oh, I love my grandma so much" look off your face.
We went out a lot, I miss that. And when she went to the hospital, it was COVID time. I was there a lot during her last days, and I spent hours with her.
No, lies, and more lies. You act like everybody is brand new, Chantal, that nobody knows of you prior to the Q80 arc. I mean, just because you've privated all those videos of yours and maybe deleted a good number of them, that doesn't mean that nobody else doesn't have the videos in archive and that they don't remember what happened back then. So, don't act like you just came to the internet at the beginning of the Q80 arc, because you didn't. We know an entirely different truth before then. And no matter how many times you try and rewrite history, it's not going to change it, because, like I say, there's incontrovertible proof.
Yeah, you can travel with ashes, but her ashes are at my mom's. People are jealous your family actually loves and cares about you. Yeah, I think, Zach, that's probably why they try to come after my family, or they try to make it seem like they don't love me, or make up lies about me and my sister.
No, not made up lies. All of us would love to, I'm sure, rewrite some aspects of our history, of our past. We've all got pasts, and there are aspects within those pasts that some of us are not entirely proud of. But we can't rewrite history. We don't try and pretend like it never happened. What you have to do is turn around and say, "Look, Back then, I was a shit. I was a shitty person. But now, I'm changing for the better. And we see no evidence of that whatsoever. You're still the same Chantal that you were way back when you were chasing him round, him who shall not be named, round Lachine, when you were sort of coming out with the cheese graveyards and dressing up as domestic violence victims. You've not moved from that point at all. You're still that nasty, vicious little person.
But I did clean, like, I did do big cleanings, but I would let it get bad sometimes. Yeah.
Sometimes. Just sometimes you let it get bad. Good God. That villa, you left it in a state that looked like a crack den. In fact, I think crack dens were probably better than the state that villa was left in. Probably with poop and pee smooshed into the carpets. Blooming rubbish in every cupboard and strewn over the floors. It was an absolute mess. And you ran off to Kuwait and you let Pete take all the crap for that. Literally, he really copped it for both of you, making the apartment as bad as it was. And most of the mess was probably yours, Chantal. I'm not saying all of it was yours, but a good deal of it was. And you just ran off to Kuwait and you left him to deal with the consequences of it. Well guys, I'm going to leave this video here. Sorry, I do apologise for the points where I got a little bit irritated, or very irritated, you could probably say. It's just there are limits to the lies that I can stomach, and Chantal passed that threshold very quickly. If you liked this video, leave it a like, give it the thumbs up. If you are interested in seeing more videos or looking at some of the other content on my channel, I've got 2 videos up now. One is retro gaming and the other one is retro books. So if you're interested in anything like that, you can check out those playlists on the channel. Thank you ever so much, as usual, for coming along and listening to me waffle on and get mad. I really do appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you to all my subscribers as well. I do appreciate your support. Thank you ever so much. Take care, guys, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.